Warning: the statements made in this video are only the opinions of the creator and should not be taken seriously. This is made for entertainment purposes only and not meant to cause any changes to your guitar playing. Any significant positive changes you may experience from trying different picks is entirely your fault, and Derek cannot be held liable for your actions and consequences. With that said, enjoy the video.
What's up, everyone? This is Derek Plavin. Welcome to episode 52. Now, since today's video is one of those videos with a more generic topic, I felt like keeping the intro short, so I'll just say if this is the first video you've seen on this channel, make sure to check out my other videos if you're looking for different kinds of jazz guitar educational content. And other than that, I'm available for private lessons if you're interested, and also have a lot of available accompanying PDFs to go along with a lot of the videos on this channel. And information for all this stuff can be found on my website as well as Patreon. Anyway, I'm sure some of you are definitely eager to get to the more practical stuff now, and we have reached that part of the channel now where I'm really going to break down exactly how I approach cultivating the body component of the whole mind-body-spirit model that I've been talking about. And to a large extent, that basically means working on technique. But in my opinion, I feel like I really can't start this topic without first talking about the pick that I'm currently using, as the inevitability of my right-hand technique is certainly affected by this. Now, first of all, I'm not here to tell you that you absolutely must use this pick if you aren't already. I'm also not trying to tell you that you have to use a pick even at all if you're more of like a fingerstyle player, or that you'll never reach a certain level of ability without using a pick. I really just want to share my thoughts and experience with this Fender medium pick, and talk about why it's currently my preferred pick of choice. And who knows, you may even be intrigued or inspired to try to start using this pick by what I say, and it might turn out to be a really good decision for you. So I'm only trying to help. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that I personally have only been using this classic Fender medium pick consistently for roughly 1 to 2 years, somewhere in between there. So honestly, not even that much of my guitar playing life. And before this time, I was the type of guitar player where if you told me that one day the basic Fender medium pick would eventually become the pick that I not only prefer and use, but actually really enjoy, I'd probably say you're crazy. For the majority of my guitar playing life, I've always preferred heavier picks. Not necessarily the thickest, heaviest picks possible, but definitely not a medium pick, or anything that would be relatively easily bendable, if you know what I mean. Over the years, I've gone through phases of preferring different kinds of picks, but they've always been heavy picks. Sometimes I've used heavier picks that have the same classic and most common teardrop shape as the Fender medium, although usually they were Dunlop, and I've played those Tour-Tex ones with the Gators. I don't have any of those on me now, but I have this other one because, I've had other heavy picks. This one is shaped slightly different. It's also Dunlop. It's called Flow or something. This one is only 1 millimeter. Sometimes I've been more into the smaller shape picks, like the infamous Jazz 3s. And I really like that they made different variations on this pick with different kinds of textures and materials and grip. Like, I was using this one, this black Jazz 3 that has these bumps, and I kind of like the way that affects the grip. So I've used those. For a while, I was also using the regular teardrop shaped heavy picks, but I was using the more unconventional side of the pick instead of the normal side. The last heavy pick that I was using before switching to the Fender medium was this one pick that I found from this company, D'Andrea. And the one I like, which I'll show you, is part of their ProPlex series, and they call this shape the 330 shape, and it's 1.5 millimeters. And this was just a little humorous or ironic to me because the guitar that I play is basically a 330 style guitar. Now, although I may no longer prefer this pick, I still think that this is a really good heavy pick, if you maybe want to try a different heavy pick, although you should really try the medium too. But this is the pick that I would say that I eventually truly started to get my technique together with and was using when I began my development of the way that I still like to at least try to play today. I thought that this unique, almost home plate looking style shape really lent itself well to the picking style that I was going for. I may not like it as much today, as I've gotten used to the medium, but I would still definitely recommend this pick if you're someone who really loves heavy picks. So that gives you an idea of my pick history. Now, if I had to give you a reason why I may have even been considering trying to use the Fender medium in the first place, I guess it would have to be because I knew that a lot of my favorite jazz guitarists were using this pick. I know that I should typically trust my own instincts and do what works for me, but the reality that several of my favorite guitarists were using this medium pick really made me wonder if maybe there was something to that, and perhaps I should give it a genuine chance and consistently use it for a while, regardless of how I may have felt about different picks at that time. And eventually, that's exactly what I did. I think it would be good to point out that when I made this switch, I had already been putting in work with my right hand technique and the way that I still try to play now. So obviously that counts for something. It's not just about the pick that you use, and I didn't have to essentially start all over with my technique. But because I wasn't used to the medium pick yet, I'm sure there was some initial regression with my technique. Now, before I got used to the Fender medium pick, I would say that there were two main reasons why I originally wasn't really into them. As you'll see, these reasons both turned out to be ironic for me because when I eventually began to prefer this pick, I would say that these same two reasons, in a way, are the two main reasons that I now actually prefer this pick. So that may sound weird, so let me explain. The first reason is basically because of what I was mentioning before, with medium picks having a more bendable or flexible quality, just simply because they were lighter and thinner. So, with the medium pick here, I don't have to explain it to you guys, but that's what I'm talking about. For a long time, my opinion was basically that from a technical or mechanical point of view, because a more light pick is more easily bendable, I thought that this would be an impediment on my results. Because when the pick attacks the strings, obviously the force will cause the pick to bend and altering its position in space slightly, and in a way reducing the precision that you may get with a more rigid or heavier pick that is seemingly more steady. I hope that makes sense. I think most of you should get what I'm saying, and some of you probably feel this way right now. Now, the interesting thing is, I still think the same thing, even after switching my preference to wanting to now use the Fender medium. So, if I still agree with this impeding nature of this medium, more bendable pick, then why would I prefer it? The short answer is that even if a lighter pick is initially harder to control, when it comes to precision, when I got used to this pick, I realized that I actually liked the way that this pick felt as it attacked the strings more so than a rigid, heavier pick, regardless of the fact that it was initially harder to control. But it just took a little time to get used to it. As we know, many good things only show up after putting in work. Not that I need to justify it, and it is sort of hard to explain, but I suppose when the medium pick hits the string, since it's lighter, when you start the motion of bringing the pick across the string, the force will initially cause the pick to slightly bend before being able to move across the string. Therefore, we could say that this creates a slower attack because there's kind of like a delay, because of that bend. If I were to play a note, not that you could see it, but, if I compared that to the heavy pick, it goes over a lot faster, To me, this slower attack creates a more elastic quality to the attack that I think feels better. It's more so like you're caressing the note or the string than hitting it with something hard and abruptly like that. Think about how this can translate over to your overall sound, feel, touch, dynamics, articulation, etc. So, as you can see, the negative quality became a positive quality. I humorously like to sometimes compare this to something like playing the guitar versus playing the violin, and I don't really know a whole lot about playing the violin, but from what I've heard, because the scale length is obviously a lot smaller, and because there's no frets, it's just the intonation on it is so much more sensitive and it's harder to get the perfect, tuning or whatever of the note. So in a way you could say it's harder to be more precise or accurate on the violin in the beginning, but if you can get good at it and used to that instrument, in terms of your touch and the type of sound and delivery that you can sort of create on that instrument, there's a beauty in that compared to, the way it feels to play guitar, right? So something interesting to think about. Anyway, one of the main good things that comes from this different attack is actually the second reason why I both initially disliked this pick and then eventually liked it. And that would be the tone. Now, I don't really need to get technical with this one because, to me, the tone is just the tone that inevitably comes from or is at least partially contributed by one variable, and obviously, the pick isn't the only thing that contributes to the sound, and it's probably not one of the main things anyway. So, like I said, the tone that generally comes from the medium pick, at least compared to more heavy picks, was both one of the reasons that I originally didn't like the pick, as well as one of the reasons why I do like the pick today. But interestingly, nothing actually changed when it comes to the tone. This is kind of different from the feel and control kind of factor that I was talking about before. Because with that, you could say once you got used to playing with the medium pick, your perception of how it felt and how well you could control it would have likely changed. The tone, on the other hand, is going to be generally the same, so why would I then change my tonal preference? So basically, a medium pick tone, at least compared to a more heavier pick, is going to sound brighter, more sharp, and twangier, whereas the heavier pick may be warmer, darker, or softer. It's funny because a typical nice jazz tone is often described as being warm and dark. So how does this make sense? I would say that for me, even if the medium pick was definitely brighter and twangier, that was still only how I relatively compared it to how the heavy pick sounded. Once I got used to the sound, it wasn't really anything that was negatively sticking out to me. And the overall warm sound of my guitar was still largely coming from my actual guitar and amp anyway. In addition, once I got used to this sound, I eventually liked it more. Probably because I think that it actually cuts through better and is a little bit more crisp. This is good if you have more of a picky kind of a sound where you're really trying to articulate a lot of your notes, as opposed to if you were playing maybe more of a truly legato type of style with hammer-ons and pull-offs and all that, maybe the heavier pick would be better for you in that case. Eventually, I heard the heavy pick as almost too dark for my taste and not cutting through the same. So if I were to just kind of compare that really quickly, I'll play the medium first. If I play the medium pick, right? And here's the heavy pick. I don't know if you'll be able to hear a difference, but do one more time. Here's the medium. Alright, here's the heavy. I mean, I'm not even the person who gets so nitpicky about these little minor differences, but there's something there. If were to really play on it, you might tell the difference, but I still have to change the strings on this guitar. So, other than that, the only thing that I would really say about this pick is, if there was anything that I don't like about it, and the only thing right now that I would say I don't like about it is the fact that they don't last, and if you keep playing on them, they definitely do wear down to an extent where, if you pick up a new Fender Medium and you play with that and you're just playing with this one for a long time, it's definitely sharper, it's quicker, and, different sound, so that definitely makes a difference. So I don't know if there's any picks that are basically like medium picks that are a different material that doesn't wear down, that feels just as good. If anyone knows of anything or they want to say anything that they like, just put it in the comments. So I'm just going to leave it there today, and I hope that that could be insightful for you guys. So in the next episode,
hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey,
I'm going to start to talk about my right hand technique and what I kind of like to do with that, alright? So, if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a like and consider becoming a subscriber, as well as a contributor to Patreon, where you get all the PDFs that come out on this channel for only $5 a month. And if you think anyone else would enjoy this content, please share it with them as well. And I will see you guys in episode 53.
Swinging and playing the blues. That's what we about.
I'm trying to help you.